Today in the Quadratec Academy, we're going to show you how to take your bumper off. Hey, Rob here for Quadratec.com. You know, a real popular modification that most people will make to their Wrangler is to replace that factory plastic bumper that came on the 07 and newer 2-door and 4-door Wranglers with a heavy-duty off-road bumper. Now, an aftermarket bumper can offer a ton of advantages over the factory plastic bumper, but before we get to those, we need to get the original bumper out of the way. Now, that job's pretty easy to do, and we're going to show you just how to get it done today. It's only going to require a few tools. We've got our Wrangler lifted up on our hydraulic lift, but you can do the job just as easy at home in your driveway. Now, you're going to need an 18mm 3/8 drive deep well socket, as well as a 3/8 drive socket wrench. I really like to use these multi-angle adjustable 3/8 drive sockets, but they're not required. They just help access some of those hard to reach bolts behind the bumper. Now, you're also going to need a Phillips head screwdriver, a plastic panel tool, and you may need to use a drill and drill bit to help with any stubborn plastic panel clips, but it might not be required in your case. Now, the first thing we need to do to get started is go ahead and remove the lower air dam out of the way, and to do that, we're going to use our panel tool, and we've got 4 clips right along the bottom here. You can go ahead and pop off. Now, once you get those 4 clips from the front side of the air dam, we have 2 more that we need to pop off from the back side, and you can reach both of those by reaching around through the wheel well. And now that we have that lower air dam out of the way, that'll give us access to reach up behind the bumper so that we can unplug the wiring harness from our fog lights. You simply have to squeeze the tab and pull that free. Now, after you get both fog lights disconnected, you want to grab your panel tool, reach up behind the bumper, because we're going to have 4 clips that secure the wiring loom for the fog lights to the back side of the bumper. Now that we have those loose, we can go ahead and grab our 18mm deep well socket and our 3/8 drive socket wrench, and this is where that adjustable head socket wrench that I mentioned earlier comes in handy. It just helps give you a little bit easier access to the nuts on the back side of the bumper, because it can be a little bit of a tight fit. Now, we're going to have 4 nuts on each side of the bumper that need to be removed, so we can go ahead and remove the bumper. Now, after removing the 2 nuts on the outside of the frame rail, there's 2 more in the same location on the inside of the frame rail. They're a little bit harder to see, but you can reach up behind the bumper and feel for their location pretty easily. Same on the driver's side. Now, those are a little bit harder to reach because there is a vacuum pump located behind there, and that's where using the 3/8 drive deep well socket comes in handy. It just makes it a little bit easier to gain access to those. And finally, I like to leave the 2 remaining nuts on the outside of the frame rail on the driver's side until very last. That'll help hold the bumper in place so it doesn't fall off while we're taking the remaining nuts off. Now that we have our bumper out of the way, the last step is to go ahead and remove this upper air dam. And to do that, we have 2 plastic retainers. We're going to need our Phillips head screwdriver. Now, these 2 plastic retainers on the upper air dam can be a little bit tricky, and they have a tendency to strip out. So you want to make sure that you give your Phillips screwdriver a good tap to really set it well into that plastic screw and keep some downward pressure as you're turning so that it doesn't strip out. If it does, don't worry, this is where you can simply use that drill and drill that plastic retainer out, because we're not going to be reusing them. just like that. And that's all it takes to remove the factory front bumper from your 2007 or newer 2-door or 4-door Jeep Wrangler. At this point, you're all set to go ahead and install a new aftermarket bumper. Now, if you have any questions about how to take the bumper off of your Jeep, you can leave those for us in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button so you'll be sure to catch the next lesson right here in the Quadratec Academy. Until that time, I'm Rob. I'll see you out on the trail or right here in the classroom.